already. Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive.
Stay up on what's happening here at Power. We've got new shows, new guests, and new events that help us connect with the community. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Power 108.9. You can also go to power1089.com to get all of the updated news and happenings here at Power. Thanks for listening.
Did you share that feed right there? Yo, it's Michael McFadden for our friends over at Credit Building Professionals. You know what they do? They help their clients achieve better credit. How? Late payments, fraud, liens, charge-offs, student loans. They do it all. Get results in 30 to 90 days, and it's very simple to contact them. Hit them up on their website, creditbuildingprofessionals.com, or give them a call, 678-447-2012. Once again, 678-447-2012. Tell them you heard it on Power 108.9. What up, Credit Craig?
Welcome to the Vanguard on Power 108.9 on this very misty day here in Atlanta, Georgia. The Vanguard is being brought to you by From Old Guard to Vanguard photo exhibit from Kamal Osiris. Check it out on Facebook. And also it's being brought to you by From Old Guard to Vanguard book by Malik Ishmael. That would be myself. Check out the Facebook page. And we are definitely in the house with Miss Kathy. And we have a very special guest in the house. Now, this sister is so talented. I think we talked to her about 5 minutes.
Yes.
And we were just like, oh my God, we got to bring her on. The wonderful and the lovely and the talented Miss Akua Taylor. How you doing, my sister?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thanks
Good morning
for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Now, one thing I want to open up is that, you're involved in so many things. And, I always like to kind of quote Picasso. He said, our goal in life is to discover our gift. Our purpose in life is to give it away, which means share it.
Yes.
How did you, discover your gifts?
Wow. Well, I have to always give homage to my parents because they have always been the ones to cultivate who we are.
Right.
I'm one of six. I'm the last of six.
Okay.
And so my parents gave us naming ceremonies as babies, as children, as a way of us understanding who we are as people. So Akua is given to girls born on Wednesday in Ghana, West Africa. And while I wasn't born in Ghana, my parents adopted some of the African traditions of Ghana, West Africa, one of them being the naming ceremony. Okay. And so at my naming ceremony, the elder said she's a precious messenger. And so that has sort of steered and guided and revealed to me my purpose and gift. Okay. And I do my messaging, so to say, through music, through arts. I've always, since childhood, have enjoyed performing, acting, dancing, singing. And so it just has been very clear to me since childhood that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. And I feel like my name and my parents giving us that piece of culture helped to guide that purpose.
Okay. Yeah, and also I had I think I was looking at Brian Abear's Instagram page, and he had a video of you performing. And my sister, you was just getting down. You looked wonderful. The band was on hit.
Thank you.
Tell us about that event Friday.
Right on. So Friday was the first Friday event at Zana Artistic Retail. Okay. Zana Artistic Retail is an artist collective here in Atlanta, right in the West End, right across from Slutty Vegan. Mm-hmm. And it's curated and owned by Dion Frazier. And it's a place for artists to kind of gather as well as promote and sell their goods and services. Okay. So out of Zana Artist retail, I teach voice lessons, and I also curate events. So the first event that I had was on Friday, and I called it First Friday's Live Music. Really simple, but just trying to bring arts and culture to that block. There's no live music on that block. And Slutty Vegan always has a line going out the door and down the block. So we opened the door of the art gallery and just let the music flow out, and it was awesome.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And the goal is for it to be once a month on the first Friday. So clearly First Fridays will have live music, and we're also opening it up to kind of a jam session type style of event, so other musicians can come and share and bring their instruments as well.
And discuss the relationship with your musicians, how you knew them and how you guys got together.
Oh, wow. So Atlanta is such a wonderful place for arts and musicians and music and culture in general. So I got here about 8 years ago, believe it or not. And anywhere I have lived, I've always connected with the artists in the city. Previous to Atlanta, I lived in New York City. Previous to that, I was going to college in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I've always connected with musicians, as it's like I need to find the musicians in the city, in town. And so since I've been in Atlanta, I've been thankful to connect with some awesome people. I've also had a residency at La Petite Marché in Kirkwood over the spring and summer seasons outside on their patio. And so that always attracts, onlookers as well as musicians. And so I'll recruit folks to play with me. I'll meet them from other bands, I've
like
done
jam sessions in a way?
Somewhat jam sessions, but more so for hire. When you gig and perform on a regular basis in town, you're going to come across other musicians who are working just as hard. And so once you have an opportunity to play with quality musicians, it just is a given to try to continue working with them on other levels. So thankfully, I've been a part of several bands in Atlanta, both corporate and grassroots, and I've been able to kind of form good relationships with musicians over the years, so that when I call and say, hey, I'm doing First Friday's live music, come through, and they do. So thankfully.
Keeping it connected, that's the thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And growing your actual business with others.
Yes. Oh my goodness, because the arts in itself is a business, show business and music business. And so thankfully I've been able to be an artist and pretty much work musically, artistically, as well as theatrically, producing and creating events through my company, Messenger Productions. So that's kind of the name of the game, right?
Right. And I heard you actually have new music out.
Can
you tell us a little bit about that?
I can. So New Year's Day, I released a song called Rise. And it's really what I want for all of us, is to rise, without getting too politically heavy. It's easy to get kind of entrapped in some of the challenges of the world. And so a lot of my music, I try to make positive and inspirational. So the song is simply called Rise. And it's a bit of a motivator for people when they hear it, because it's got a nice beat, it's upbeat, and hopefully it will help your spirit to rise when you hear it.
Oh, okay. I like that. All right. Oh, there it is right there. Yes. Okay, well, we'll be back with the Vanguard here at Power 108.9. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, get your popcorn ready. We'll be back.
All right.
Welcome back to the Vanguard here at Power 108.9, talking with Sister Kua Taylor, and you hear the song Rise in the background. I think Kathy has a few questions.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about the Atlanta Festival that you did in October 2018. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. Shout out to Tony Henson and the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, which is an awesome experience. Every year she does 40 plays in 4 days. And my play, Song Lake, was a part of that 2018, in which I produced, wrote, directed, and narrated the story of 3 angels who come from heaven or from the cosmos, whatever you'd like to say, to Earth with the mission of collecting all the problems of the world. Okay. And wouldn't that be lovely if
that would be.
that could really happen?
Right.
Collect all the problems of the world and take them to Song Lake, which is a fictitious baptismal place where they wash away the problems of the world with water and with song and with music.
I love that.
And so that was an awesome experience to be a part of the Atlanta Black Theater Festival. We packed the house. It wasn't completely sold out, but we did very well. And I mean, it was such an outpouring of energy and love through the arts for me, because the story and the concept was just sort of given to me, just kind of downloaded and spiritually inspired for me to do.
Okay. And I could just imagine,
Right.
a lot of times people don't realize how much work goes into prepping for
Oh my God.
the hours.
Yes. But when it's a labor of love, you know, you almost don't notice it until it's over. It's like birthing a child. You know, like you have this great gift of creation, and over time it grows and grows and grows. You pour into it everything that you have, and then one day it's, you know, given to the masses and to people, and you look back and say, wow, I can't believe, you know, so much went into that.
Right.
And
What
that
you
was Song Lake.
accomplished.
Yeah. So very
Because I know that
thankful.
after you finish, that's when you realize and you say, I can't believe I did that.
Right, absolutely, yeah, just celebrating. I mean, and my sister friends that were a part of it, they were the 3 angels.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Right.
not performers themselves, but more so spiritually involved in the purpose of the show.
Okay.
And the show kind of being a fictitious altar call, but when the audience came, it felt like a real altar call of sorts, where they could kind of leave their problems there, and we were, you know, symbolically washing them away through this show.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and I love
really
that
awesome.
concept, the cleansing, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the healing
The healing,
aspects
yeah,
of it.
yeah, very
you know,
important.
that music is so healing. I mean,
It
the
is.
arts is healing in and of itself. So when we put that intention behind it, how powerful is that, you know?
Exactly.
So really thankful for that experience.
Wow. Okay.
So I want to also talk about, I know you actually have different parts of your life that you share with others by giving. So one includes you do performance coaching.
Yes.
You also do, you're an event planner. And then also you actually help others coach their vocals. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so voice lessons are one of the things that I offer, as well as acting lessons as well. But primarily right now, the interest seems to be more so around vocal coaching.
Okay.
And so at Zana Artistic Retail, our artist collective space, I teach voice lessons on Mondays and Wednesday evenings, either 6 o'clock class or 7 o'clock class.
Okay.
And it's 45 minutes of a lot of breathing exercises, actually, because singing is all about breathing.
Right. That's why you have singers who run a lot. and
Absolutely.
You have to get that, you know.
Yes, you got to
air.
get your
Stamina.
stamina. Yep,
everything,
and
yeah.
it's a muscle.
Right.
So thankfully, since I've been in Atlanta, I've sung with several corporate bands.
Okay.
And if you're not familiar, corporate bands are the ones that are usually hired for weddings and private parties.
Okay.
So typically, a corporate band will perform for 3 to 4 hours straight for a party. And the job of the corporate band is to bring the party. So you are amped and live for 3 to 4 hours straight. That means your body, your lungs, your diaphragm as a singer has to be in good shape. So essentially what I'm teaching is that that ability for young and old to be able to have the stamina to sing at that level.
Okay.
So I teach breathing exercises particularly, but then also the gallery is so wonderfully acoustically naturally set up that when you sing in the gallery, your voice just bounces off the walls.
Oh, man.
So
Like you're in a studio almost, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
And so the real lesson is for students to hear their own voice. And so I'm just coaching them in letting it out.
Gotcha.
And then when they hear their voice bounce off those walls, it's like a discovery moment because, wow, I didn't know my voice could do that.
Right.
So essentially, I'm just guiding in the experience of others hearing their own voice, which is a blessing in and of itself. So that's Mondays and Wednesday evenings, 6 to 8 at Zana Artistic Retail. And booking is online for those classes.
And we're online.
So my website is amessengerproduction.com. amessengerproduction.com, and there's a link for lessons, and there's a link for voice lessons there as well. And so people can click on that link and book a class and come on in.
Okay. Well, we're getting ready to go to a break right now, but we got my man Franklin Brown, filmmaker, photographer. He does it all. And who is that young man right there?
That's my son.
What's his,
All right.
what's his
Hey,
name?
son. Hi, Josh.
John? Okay. Well, we'll be right back. We'll be back at the Vanguard on Power 108.9.
All right.
Hey, check 1 2. Mic check. Oh. Mic check 1 2. Mic
Right
check
there
1
is
2.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yo, it's Michael McFadden for our friends over at Credit Building Professionals. You know what they do? They help their clients achieve better credit. How? Late payments, fraud, liens, charge-offs, student loans. They do it all. Get results in 30 to 90 days, and it's very simple to contact them. Hit them up on their website, creditbuildingprofessionals.com, or give them a call, 678-447-2012. Once again, 678-447-2012. Tell them you heard it on Power 108.9. What up, Credit Craig?
If you're a content creator, social media socialite, influencer, or simply love to record current events, you need the joystick. The joystick is an essential tool for every type of digital content creator. It holds 2 or more mobile phones or tablets, allowing users to stream and record hands-free on multiple apps simultaneously. And it's lightweight and portable. For more information or to purchase your joystick today, Visit our website at www.joystick.com.
Welcome back to the Vanguard here at Power 108.9. I told everybody get their popcorn ready.
I know.
Because we're having a powerful show. Before we ask our next question, I want to give a shout out to Maurice Burwell. He's a brother that has some great community programs down in Dallas, Texas. And you can check him out on Instagram at Vanguard_Maurice. And also to brother, Big General Rivers, who recently had a big food giveaway to needy families, in his area. So I definitely want to shout him out. You can go to his Instagram at BossmanRIV. So check them out. Young brothers doing some great work, and that's right up my alley, as you
There
already
you go,
know.
yes.
So I'm going to shoot on back over to Kathy.
Well, I wanted to ask the sister one more question, and it was in regards to you starting your business. I actually read that story online, and I thought that was very interesting, how you started A Messenger Production when you were in college.
Absolutely. So my goal has always been to own my art. It's one thing to create, it's one thing to record, it's one thing to perform, but ownership is everything, right? That's what we've learned from a lot of the mistakes of some other artists in the past, maybe owning masters, owning your work.
Right.
And so Messenger Productions, as I explained a little bit earlier, it was inspired by definitely the meaning of my name, but also that there are so many different kind of productions and works of art that I like to create and push and promote. So, just right out of college, moving to New York City was a true test,
Yeah, I was going to say, how was New York?
New York was amazing. I always say that New York made a woman out of me.
All right.
For real.
Okay, all right.
I mean, it just taught me how to hustle, taught me how to survive.
Okay.
And, and creating Messenger Productions was in part from being there.
Okay, right.
And just needing to survive, having to survive and having to create work for myself, create art for myself.
Right.
One of the first productions was a workshop for kids in Elizabeth, New Jersey, in the school system called Reach Higher, based off my first song. And it's a motivational singing assembly for students, encouraging them to be their best, strive for greatness, and not stop when things get hard, but to reach higher. Right. So, that was sort of one of the first productions that I was able to kind of get off the ground and get into the school system there in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And so from there, it's like more music, more recordings, more live shows, music videos, and all these things fit under Messenger Productions or A Messenger Production.
And I know when you said Elizabeth and New Jersey, you also did an event that had domestic violence and how that came about. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, and that actually came about in Atlanta after moving here, and just healing from some troubling times in my own life, my own relationships, and my own experiences. And just coming to understand emotional abuse and mental abuse. So not necessarily physical abuse, but just, challenges in relationships in terms of emotional and mental health and wellness.
Yeah, some people don't realize how impactful verbal abuse.
Yes, words are.
Yeah, words are, as opposed to, we know what physical abuse is, but just to put someone down and what have you, the emotional abuse is very
Absolutely.
important.
And so my way of combating that was music.
Okay.
And so I wrote a song called Approve. And Approve is based off of a book by Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life.
Okay.
And in that book is an affirmation, and it's I approve of myself, I love myself, I accept who I am. And I just added right here, right now to that affirmation because, regardless of what I was going through, it was necessary for me to approve of myself in that moment. And it's not an ego thing, but more so a tool, using an affirmation and using words as a tool for healing. So to say I approve means that you're dispelling all that abuse, you're dispelling all that hurt and pain, and you're pushing it away with approval, with self-love, essentially. So that grew into a workshop, which I was able to do with the Women's Resource Center to End Domestic Violence in Decatur. And it was shortly after moving to Atlanta that I was able to produce that workshop with them for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And I just sang to the women and children that were there in those shelters and helped them to approve of themselves and taught them the songs so that they could then sing them to themselves and sing them to the children. And actually, the center director told me that a little baby, maybe 3 years old or so, was walking down the hall singing "Approve."
Oh.
You know, and so like for a child to get a sense of self-love that young was so impactful for me, because it meant that the mission and the purpose of the music that I'm writing and creating landed.
Wow.
It landed, and it had impact.
And you found your purpose with that as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So
And you stay positive. That's what I love
that's the
as
thing.
well.
Yeah.
I saw your spirit just the first time we met you. The thing about it is, I told my husband, she's just so joyful.
Oh, thank you. Thank
And
you.
now we also got a chance to meet this brother
Yes.
here. Now, we ready? Look, I tell you, this brother, from being a photographer, from a motivational speaker, from a filmmaker, you really remind me in a tradition of, I guess, Gordon Parks Jr. In terms of being a photographer, being a filmmaker. Kind of tell us about yourself and how you got into your various industries.
Well, the first thing, my name is Franklin. I'm originally from Philadelphia,
Okay,
PA.
all right.
So, growing in Philly, it was, a little bit more of the, urban type of style. But we were more of following that New York, as far as, either you go to New York in media to be a star, or, you live in Philly to kind of like don't pay that New York prices.
I got you.
So, so being into that industry of, rappers, media things, that kind of blew up in the scene of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because, we have stars like Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And, we have a lot of soul stuff going on in Philly. Joe Scott, The Roots. So,
and even going back farther, too.
Yeah,
well,
farther.
Harold
Yeah.
Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so,
That's my era
He
right
loves
there.
old school.
oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I got some old school roots, too. But the film, well, first of all, when I went to Norfolk State, so that's where I actually discovered having a camera.
Okay.
So I was first a special education teacher. So I was going to do teaching classes, and I was supposed to be teaching physical fitness. Because growing up in high school, I was a basketball player.
Oh, okay. All right.
So as far as that, I was like, oh, well, I'll be a gym teacher. And I learned about how to, to develop a lesson plan and how to handle a class. So as far as when I went to Norfolk State, I started to see also that media type thing, because Virginia at a time point was there, and the South was just integrating.
Okay, right.
So with the South integrating with a lot of producers and things of that nature, and then we had a lot of talent shows and stuff like that, I was like, wow, this is something amazing I want to be a part of, with being some type of big production or some type of radio type of thing.
Okay, right.
Or journalism. Right. So when I switched my major, then that's when I took a class called music videos, music productions.
Okay, all right.
So, I took the course, and we learned all about editing and everything like that.
Okay.
So from there, that's when I made Charismatic Films.
Okay, now explain the
Yes.
title. I love the title.
Right. Well, it came from me in the swim class lessons, because I did that, and I think my professor called me, frankly, you're so charismatic.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. And she kept saying it like all the time, because, I always was a good swimmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, professional
Right.
swimmer. That's later I was going to talk about the classes on that. I would love to teach it too. But but as far as that, she said that name, and then I carried that over to where it's saying, okay, well, if I mix that with films, that will be unique.
Right.
So it's a little catchy, a little different, because a lot of times people will say their name Productions or this Productions.
Right.
So I had to kind of keep it a little more, nice and, different. So, register the name and everything like that. So when I first started, when I had the schooling and things, once I finished college, my first thing was to go and interview artists.
Okay, right.
So I made a first DVD was called, Virginia's Best Underground Hip Hop Artists and Singers.
All right.
So I go in and I would interview them, but also I would film them towards them rapping, because at the time we had these little DVD mixtapes where people were just battling, and that's how they got on.
Right. Okay.
You know, like, and me being in an industry where, you know, some of the stars, like even with Meek Mills, when he first came on, he was doing these rhyming on these mixtapes.
Right.
But no, it was rhyming on these DVDs where, you know, he would battle somebody.
Okay.
And, you know, he would just flat out just, you know.
I mean, it's like
right, yeah. And then it was like people like.
Go ahead and show him up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was not bad though. But there was people like, you know, Freeways, and these are just some of the stuff like, you know, as far as the hip hop artist industry. Right. Okay. So what I was doing is making rap DVDs, and from there, you know, going in the hood, you know, getting Virginia. Okay. So we were going to battle people from Philly, because I was getting connections with Virginia rappers, hottest rappers versus Philly, hottest rappers, and that's where we were always doing those things. Or we go to Baltimore, who had the best city. As far as in the world. Okay. So we were, and I knew other producers that was doing these rap DVDs at the time. Okay. All right. So, but as far as that, you know, we did a pretty good, you know, run on that. But then the industry changed, of course.
Right, of course.
Yeah. What happened, you know, a lot of times battles wasn't, everybody was not trying to get signed. Everybody was trying to get independent, right? Because those battles were just to start to get you to say, okay, you know, another advertising, So when they went independent, then, you know, gotta, you know, branched off a little bit because the thing was getting saturated. So, so then I brought a, you know, big camera as far as that was concerned, because at the time I was having like a little small one, so I invested in it, and I had a, you know, a job where after college, where I had to do a sales job, because you still had to, you know, I was fresh coming out. Right. So, you know.
We all have to get those
get your hustle on.
Right.
Got to pay the bills type thing.
Pay the bills, So, so that's when I brought the camera, it was a lot. So it was a video camera.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so that's when, and then I also had a sales job. So, and it was at Verizon Wireless.
Oh, okay.
So at the time, you know, I was doing that full time, and then I had the Charismatic Films part-time. Okay. And so I was just sitting up there, and, you know, I was learning the market. I didn't actually physically didn't get too many sales like that because the job was burning me. Okay. But, you know, learning how to have a commission job was powerful. Right. Because sales was job. Now I had sales jobs working when I was in college at a furniture store. Okay. So, and my thing is, if you can sell anything, you can sell a lot. If you can sell anything, you're going to be big in anything you go.
Right. As long as it's marketed correctly.
Right, marketing correctly too. Yeah. Because it was a formula that, you know, you have to have towards sales, and you have to make your quota. And, you know, that was one thing that, you know, I always was gifted to. You know, you put a quota inside of me, it was like, I'm going to crush it. Okay. All right. So with that being said, that would build me towards it now, because what I've learned when I was working for the Verizon, I was working that for 10 years. Okay. And I just learned better marketing, better advertising, better consultant more, you know, as far as that. Because you can't never go to somebody and, you know, directly just go right to the sale. You have to connect. Right. Correct. Right, exactly. And that was one of the things that I had learned from having that commission job. Okay. Right. So what got me to move from Verizon to having this Charismatic Film as its own was the benefit towards me to see, like, you know what, if I'm going to spend 8 hours of my time, you know, doing commission, hustling, calling, cold calling, everything like that, you know, they not keeping up with the times, because, you know, I've been through Verizon when it was competing and everything. They were struggling, you know, and things started getting out of control, you know, even with, you know, you got management, you know, just normal, you know, job. Why not take that time to my business? Okay. Because all I would do is just have to figure out a market. Because like what I was doing now, I had to look online, you know, do the old school way, see who had, you know, Verizon Wireless call, and I had to call them. Right. So, you know, I was like, well, why not do that for my business? Okay, right. So I was like, well, let me take, you know, what I had, you have your little 401k, and then at the time,
steady.
Yeah.
You're looking at investing in self.
Right.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
right, yes. Well, that was just a little bit. And then, you had the ride share services because I thought about, and that was one of the things that probably keep a lot of people when they were trying to move from their full-time job, quitting it, and going to their business full-time.
Okay.
Is the fact that you have to see other resources that now is out here. Because now, we have, like I said, the ride share, you have Airbnb,
Right.
You can do a lot now. You also have other multi-level media marketing, which you have people that are selling credit things.
Right.
They work their own schedule.
Okay, right.
So now, if you have those streams, that can kind of work your business more because you're not built in. So that's why I was, had the confidence for me to migrate from working at full time to where it's the Charismatic Film full times.
Is that a dynamic that you have as well, sister?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom always jokes like the Jamaican way is to have 10 jobs. And so, multiple streams of income. Half of my house is a B&B.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a guest right now.
Oh, okay.
So I have an Airbnb as well. And so the voice lessons is one stream. The live band is another stream.
Right.
And then event planning. So I had the pleasure of doing wedding planning for 2 brides last year.
Oh, okay.
And,
All right.
that was everything from top to bottom, everything they needed for their special day.
Wow.
And which for me fits into my theater degree because when you're producing something, you have to plan for every little bit of that event and that production or that show.
Okay.
So thankfully, I was able to use those skills in wedding planning last year. So, we have to do everything
Right.
with
Well,
everything we got.
We're going to cut to a break. We got Milwaukee and Philly in the building just giving that knowledge. So we'll be right back with the Vanguard on Power 108.9. Man, good information there. What's going on, brother?
Oh, yeah.
Breathing, huh?
So when you breathe, you're breathing into your tummy. So when you when you're talking and singing.
Okay, so I talk a whole lot.
Yeah. And the voice is gone. Right. So if you sit up straight, right. Right, so that's great. Okay. Right? And you're allowing your diaphragm and your tummy muscles to work that way by having good posture, right? So when you inhale, you're filling up your belly like a balloon. And then from that, you should be able to speak from that air that you filled up your tummy with. Right. Which I like your voice a lot. I like how you're using it there, but I just think if you breathe more and deeply before you speak, you'll have more support.
She's actually, but she's since a 9.
Okay, so do it with
she's
me.
the owner.
We're gonna inhale, but it's gonna be like
Yes.
you're filling up your belly like a balloon.
Yeah.
So
She
inhale.
also owns, the building too. The whole
And see what I noticed about you is you
the
inhale
gallery,
in your chest.
So that would be good.
So we
to
work
have
in the
her.
tummy. We work in the belly and the diaphragm, right? So inhale.
And that was her boyfriend.
That was better.
Yes.
Right? And exhale.
I didn't know she was that.
Good. Inhale.
We
Good.
sometimes
Exhale.
talk about things. He's
Good.
like my
Inhale.
second shooter at times.
Hold
so
it.
he don't work for my
And now
company, but he
speak.
has his own type of
and
photography
you can feel it
name
coming
and
out
everything
as
like
Right.
that.
When you speak,
Yeah, right.
when you
So
speak from there, then it's
That's-
more supported, it's stronger.
that would be
So
that's
that's
good
a
because
lot of
he's
practice.
Oh yeah.
very knowledge plus
No,
he's
but I
also
saw
been
the
in the industry
difference
for a little
between
while
when
too.
you first
So
started and he did like this versus right here. Exactly. Yep. Right. No. It's tummy muscles. It's diaphragm.
correct.
It's expanding. Right.
I'm
Right.
have a,
And even if you
I'm having
control
a
the
thing
air, so
called
you're not letting a whole lot out. So another exercise to do a
meet
good
our
sound. So you inhale.
I'll invite you to it. So it'll be something where you come in, intricate meetings.
Very slowly. And that's a practice of holding it, but
You
only
gotta make
using a
that
little
remember,
bit
from
at a time.
freezing
yeah.
His
Yeah.
name is
And-
Brian.
and
Yeah, Brian. He was a cook. So he's a chef over at the Greens and Mashed
You got this.
Potatoes.
There you go.
You know, kids, people.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
know,
There you go.
the mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we leave.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, so.
That'll be $100.
There you go. Look, thanks for paying for both of us.
Okay. Yeah, right.
I tell you, we're having a good time here at the Vanguard at Power 108.9. You hear the noise up in here?
Oh, yes.
Having a good time.
Well, I just want to say about Philadelphia. Whenever I've driven in Philadelphia or flown in Philadelphia from New York, first thing I do when I get to Philadelphia, I look at the walls, and I just see how creative the people are there, the music, the culture of Philadelphia. And New England will jump on Milwaukee. We need to know what's happening. It ain't all about the lake, right?
Not at all, you know.
Yeah, but tell us how Philly really influenced you.
Well, the first thing that I'll say is, you know, being that my family all is from Philadelphia, because they've been since, you know, the 70s, where, you know, of course, that was a tough time into it.
Yeah.
But one thing about that that influenced me about Philadelphia is the fact that, you know, the houses are connected.
Right.
So we all look out for each other.
Right.
So we don't all have the nice background and everything like that.
Right.
So when you grow up in the block, you know, growing up as far as a kid, we all look and support each other.
Okay. Right.
So if the kids come from the other block, you know, they will have your back.
Right.
Because Philadelphia has a unity. The community really, as far as whatever block section you have, they come together and they stand within each one.
Now, is that the way Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff got together? I hear it in the back.
Yeah.
That's that connectivity you're talking about, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we brace, you know, like I said, you know, growing up and, you know, listening to them, watching their career, was just like, you know, fun. Because, you know, they brought the creativity, the type of, even like a Fresh Prince with that artwork. the spray print.
Yeah.
Right. And then you see at the beginning, he's all campaign, you know, that's what we do.
Right.
Because it's just an artist type of culture there.
Well, the whole city, because you know, I love the Jew, because Julius Erving was my first favorite basketball player.
Julius
Love the
Erving.
mural of him. Love the mural of Wilt Chamberlain. Love the mural of Patti LaBelle. I mean, that's just beautiful. Much less, you know, the rest of the art around the city. I think Sonia Sanchez and Friends mural.
Yeah, we have a lot of murals. Then also, you know, you have Rocky.
Yes,
they
that's
shot
right.
that. You have the Liberty Bell. You know, so they have, you know, that type of downtown type of thing there.
Okay.
A couple other cultural things that you know, Philly has that, you know, we have them. You know, we known for cheesesteaks.
Of
So
course, right.
one of the things, you know, people come by.
I like
here.
Pat's.
Yeah,
Anyway. Oh, Pat's eye.
Yeah, they're okay. You know, well, you know, they have to be the they have to be the tourist one. Because the reputation of how long they've been out.
Correct.
Yeah, and you know, they have to keep it up towards, you know, their generation back.
Right. Okay.
But you know, as far as that, you know, ranking them, you know, I'll put them at least not in the top 10.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
that's
I didn't
just
go to the
his
neighborhood.
thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Only
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I did want to say, I know Valentine's is coming up, and I saw that you actually put on your website a way people can actually come together, and it was actually taking photos. Can you tell them how to reach you there?
Oh, okay. Well, let me explain about the Valentine's
Yes.
Day. What happened, I figured that, you know, I'll do a Valentine's special for couples, and being able to, you know, take pictures that you never had, you know, done before. So sometimes, you know, after a period of time, you know, you have to keep up with, you know, coming unique. So I figured that, you know, keep the, you know, couple experience great and having this type of, you know, exposure. So the way it works, though, is the fact that, we're going to have it at Sinai all next week of the Valentine's Day week, and then the following week, give you time in case, you know, you might get busy. Okay. We'll have a backdrop. So we'll have a love flower backdrop with props.
Okay.
And we'll, you know, take a picture. Okay. And different type of poses, you know, different type of cuddling, you know, depends on what you like.
Okay.
You know, we'll do that. Also, I'll do engagement, because that's also one thing that I do specialize. And I would say, we can do it at the park. It doesn't have to be at Design, but, I can also travel to your location.
Okay.
So, and then engagement photos, I love doing those because, it's that experience, a moment that you're gearing yourself up towards you to say I do. So, it gets it towards the pre-picture type.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and sister, how did Milwaukee? Because I don't meet too many brothers and sisters from Milwaukee.
That's right.
Talk about your upbringing and how it
yeah.
influenced you in terms of your career path.
Oh my goodness, Milwaukee, Wisconsin was a very unique experience. Like I said, my parents were very influential in the community. And in an African-centered sort of way.
And it's speech from
Arrested
Development.
Arrested Development, right?
Milwaukee.
Shout out Milwaukee, definitely. And actually, my dad was one of the first people to play Arrested Development music on the air.
Oh, okay.
So tell us what your dad did.
So my dad was a television journalist for 29 years in Milwaukee. So, I feel very, very much at home here at Power 108.9.
All right.
But so he was very influential in the community, but always made sure that he and my mom were uplifting the culture, uplifting African culture, African people, African history. Right. So that was a big part of my upbringing. And Milwaukee is one of the most segregated cities in the nation.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So I actually grew up in the suburbs of Milwaukee, which is McFadden, Wisconsin. I was one of the only black girls in my class a lot of the time. But my household had so much culture that I didn't feel alienated as much as some people might. So, Milwaukee's known for beer and cheese.
Cheeseheads,
The Packers, even though that's Green Bay, and the Brewers, you know. But, our upbringing was very much centered around the culture in the city. And there's a few folks in Milwaukee, Teju, and, other folks, Baba Oshi, who also has his own radio show, who were storytellers, and they were sort of cultivators of the culture. And so this was my example growing up, that whatever we do, we always must, celebrate who we are.
Beautiful.
So, that was very much ingrained in the community, in the other leaders in Milwaukee, my parents, and Milwaukee as a city always make sure, that who we are is represented.
Okay, and how was the music scene in Milwaukee? I know Eric Benet is from Milwaukee.
Eric Benet, yeah. I mean, one of the things I had growing up was Summerfest, which is a huge music festival on the lakefront, and about 10 stages of live music. So if you can imagine every summer, always having good music to look up to.
Well, that kind of reminds me of what they do in Philadelphia as well. The Roots put on
every year.
Yeah.
The Roots Picnic. Yep.
So music scene. I think it's stronger now, and there's always a presence with those live festivals. But like you named, Arrested Development and Growing Nation was also one of my favorite bands growing up out of Milwaukee. Very little known band, but strong band.
All right.
And Eric Benet, as you said, as well. So, I'm trying to be one of those, to
There
represent
you
the
go.
city as well. Milwaukee, hey.
You're giving that
Well,
shout
I
out.
actually now Milwaukee with the Bucks actually is going to be the new media now, right down there.
Right.
Of course, Packers have been there for so many years.
Yes,
as
that
far
used to
as
be my team.
being able to at least have that winning culture.
Yeah.
But now Milwaukee is going to be a title town. The Bucks look like they really going to be winning some chips.
All right. How could I not mention the Bucks?
There we go.
Forgive me.
Got the Greek freak up there.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Giannis.
Nigerian Greek freak, I should say.
Yeah,
right.
yes.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. We got a few things going on, and I always attribute a lot of who I am to where I was born and raised. So, that's always Milwaukee.
Well, I can see also that your parents had such a strong influence on you.
For sure.
And talk about, just how, influential your parents have been to your development.
Well, my parents have been married for 51 years.
Congrats.
Blessings.
They're going on 52 years this year.
Okay.
And so just that strong foundation of a household. I mean, it became very real to me when I got to Fisk that everybody didn't have that. Everybody didn't have two parents growing up. Everybody didn't have 52 years of marriage growing up to look up to. So I always attribute a lot of who I am to them and to the example that they set. You know, and I always say that the Cosby Show is kind of an example of how I grew up. Like, we had dinner every night, you know. And
no cell phones or nothing on the table.
You know, cell phones weren't even a thing then, you know, so we had to talk, you know, and we weren't eating in front of the TV. We were eating at a table. You know what I mean? And so you learn table manners, and, you know, you learn how to dine with people, you know, and so... thankfully, you know, that was my upbringing, and
is that your experience as well, in terms of strong family bond and what have you?
Yeah, well, I was actually, unfortunately, I was brought up with, you know, my parents being married, and, you know, they had me after they become married within like last 2 years. So we had, you know, family structure towards, you know, having eating at the table. My dad was military, so that's why.
That discipline,
Yes. So, you know, a little bit of that, and then my uncle military, so they, you know, make sure I was straight.
Okay, all right.
But after, you know, as far as, you know, the culture of Philly, you know, they kept me in the house as far as certain times, because, you know, it gets a little crazy. Yeah.
Like any other urban city that we live in, but that's just our
Yeah.
people, you know, just
right.
Yeah.
But you know, as far as just seeing the, you know, the love and that they was there, and, you know, they, you know, kept, you know, loving us, you know, and keeping us with God, and keep us in, you know, some church sometimes, you know, and then, you know, out of making that type of family structure, planning trips, so you know.
Okay, well, I know, Kathy, you have any questions before we cut to a break? Are you good?
We'll come right back, and I'll actually be asking a couple of more questions.
I guess you told me. We'll be right back with the Vanguard on Power 108.9. Kathy says so. See me, I'm from originally Miami, but all my people come from Louisiana.
This is your new favorite.
I hear it though.
I know, because I went to California for
Trust
about
me.
7 years.
Trust me, when we cross over that state line into Louisiana, her accent changes immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Inches away.
Yeah. Oh, it just gets deeper and deeper.
Right. And same for you, right? Because your family.
Yeah, a little bit. We had a little bit
Answer
accent.
it already.
But I was raised in so many other places. I lived in Los Angeles, Ohio, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
And she
And
was
Next
with
time,
you, too.
ignore
So-
your inner
California
voice.
as well.
Don't
California.
text and drive.
Stay up on what's happening here at Power. We've got new shows, new guests, and new events that help us connect with the community. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Power 108.9. You can also go to power1089.com to get all of the updated news and happenings.
Right, okay.
here
We
at
definitely
Power.
got to make sure we
Thanks for
And then
listening.
re-advertise it out. Put yours out and your website. And I know James will put yours out as well. And
Okay.
also, you can talk about your event up and coming. I know you have one event I saw that you said at a later date on your website.
Oh, okay.
Talk about that one.
Yeah, I can. Okay. Yeah, I just Right.
Yo,
right,
it's
yeah.
Michael McFadden for our friends over
Yeah,
at
but I
Credit
know
Building
he,
Professionals. You know what they do?
yeah,
They
he was
help their
trying to
clients
push the
achieve better
West-
credit.
'cause he's
How?
down in,
Late
Weston.
payments, fraud,
Oh, yeah, he's over
liens,
by that way.
charge-offs, student loans.
Yeah.
They do it all. Get results in
Yeah.
30 to 90 days, and it's very simple to contact them. Hit them up on their website,
good for the city.
creditbuildingprofessionals.com,
That was good. That was, you know,
or give them a
it's
call,
been
678-447-2012.
it was so much
Once
of
again,
a, rate of-
678-447-2012. Tell them you heard it on Power 108.9. What up, Credit Cred?
If you're a content creator, social media socialite, influencer, or simply love to record
why you gotta
current
love the
events,
mayor.
you need the joystick. The joystick is an essential tool for every type of digital content creator. It holds 2 or more mobile phones or tablets, allowing users to stream and record hands-free on multiple apps simultaneously. And
Took you
it's
fresh,
lightweight
y'all.
and
I know, I was
portable.
thinking that.
For more information or to
I
purchase
couldn't
your
resist.
joystick today, visit our website at
I'm getting a low battery over there.
www.joystick.com.
Okay. Welcome back to the Vanguard here at Power 108.9, having some great conversation with terrific guests. Before I hand it back over to Kathy, I want to give a condolences to Kobe Bryant, the families on the helicopter, his daughter, Gianna, and, everyone that suffered, during that tragedy, and as well as everyone that's going through something. Definitely want to send love and blessings to them. So, go ahead, Kathy, you got it.
Well, I wanted to know from the brother, I know you had an up-and-coming event, it said in June on your website. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, well, it was actually last year, which actually was the first time I came to Zanai. So I'll do a celebration. And June is always the second inauguration for me being in part of Zanai, that's the collaborative space for artists. And I'm part of with the photography production. So that's where I'm going to have, another exciting event towards getting, it back, celebrating, me being there again. Right. And, just promoting business, because that's the main focus of what I like to do. Okay. So.
Yeah. So when you said that, I did see that you also stated that you do, and you are a certified photographer, but also you do video edits. So can you tell us a little bit about the different services that you offer as well on that end?
So as far as me, the photography and video production, I'll start from there. Okay. So for the video production, more for businesses that are looking to do commercials or infomercials, being able to have a content where you're able to talk about what your business is, and then we would actually pan to shoot towards your actual work. So and we put it together. Right. For the photography side, we do personal for people that do newborns, weddings, as far as actors, headshot, still business. So specialize in everything, and also drone work too. All right.
And I remembered you also talk about marketing, because part of it includes them knowing to market to the right audience, or even the way they actually advertise it. Can you talk a little bit about the marketing segment as well?
Yes. One of the things that I would say with marketing is definitely be consult towards social media and being active of that. Being able to have yourself, your target audience of understanding of what you want to direct towards, and how the way you want to direct it. And also show variety and be, diverse in your in all races and stuff. I've noticed that sometimes when, from a standard, that a lot of people just shoot one thing. They'll just shoot like a lot of models, and they say they're photographers. But really, they don't branch off to say, okay, well, let me try to shoot different type of art. Right. And that's one of the things that I always say, market yourself for other, scenarios, because.
So basically don't limit yourself, because otherwise you're closing your audience.
You're closing your audience, right. So.
And in terms of marketability, I'm holding Akua Taylor's mixtape.
Hey.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, y'all. Ow.
Hey.
Now tell us about your marketability in terms of your songs, your videos,
and where they can
purchase
them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you can find my music primarily right now on Bandcamp. Okay. This mixtape that you're holding is at akuataylor.bandcamp.com. And this is one of the last physical copies. I'm gifting it to the Vanguard.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And, y'all help so much with the marketing of artists, through your show. So thank you for what you do.
We appreciate
thank
y'all
the mayor,
for coming
Michael.
as well.
Thank you, the mayor, Michael.
Power 108.9 in the house.
Right on. But, I do a lot of my own marketing and promotion using social media. I create my own flyers and graphic design. I mean, our ability to push ourselves is, is all we got right now.
Right. Correct.
Absolutely. So, I can be found on Bandcamp as well as SoundCloud. Okay. And the single that we heard earlier actually is on all platforms, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, etc. That's called Rise. So you can find it there, as well as my website for booking voice lessons, and that's messengerproduction.com.
Okay, brother.
And mine is at Charismatic Films, which is www.charismatic films, which is FILMZ.com with a Z. So Charismatic Films. Also, I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook too. So you can catch, if you want to book a session with me, like I said, I come travel to you, and we can I do free consultations. So, more towards seeing where you're at in your business or where you're at in your personal, and try to make it memorable. And like I said, I can customize a plan. I consider myself a reasonable, affordable photographer, right, nice budget one. So, because I love to give people the options to, feel more towards, I like to shoot more than for me just to make money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like me, I want to, focus on me, say, okay, well, you have to pay this, you got to do this, but, make sure that, I get the experience that you need. So,
well, I tell you, we're going to rise up right now with Akua Taylor and my brother, Franklin Brown from Charismatic Films. Thank you for tuning into the Vanguard. Remember to like, comment, and share. And we'll see you next time on the Vanguard here at Power 108.9.
All right.
We gotta get him.